This is going to be a video about my problem with Donald Trump, all right? And I know a lot of people have a problem with Donald Trump, right, in this country. I know that. However, when you put on the TV, they're really talking about a bunch of stuff that really is to get you off the things he's not doing, all right? Because the mass media is run by the elite. And here's my problem with Donald Trump, all right? I voted for Donald Trump. I'm not going to lie, I voted for him. I'm a little ashamed of it, but I did. And I'll tell you the reason why I voted for him. Bernie Sanders was forced out by the rich, corrupt political machine, that forced him out, and, Hillary decided to run instead, all right? Now, I was also liking some of the things Trump said, too. And the main thing that he kept saying over and over again that I could identify with is, we've got to get these illegals out of the country. And that is the main reason I voted for Donald Trump. All right, because my town, as you know, is full of illegals. It's ruining my life. They bring crime, they hang out on the streets, and they cause nothing but problems. And here was a candidate who was going to come along and he was going to get rid of them. He said he was going to get rid of them. And the problem is that he hasn't gotten rid of them. And, when the campaign was going, there was a lot of stuff being thrown out by Hillary against him, a lot of stuff from the left being thrown out against him. Yet, when I saw the two choices that I had a choice between a woman who's very corrupt, connected to Wall Street, has run a very horrible campaign, a woman that could care less about the poor, less about the minorities, a woman who has completely lost her way, as far as I'm concerned, a woman who supports illegal immigration, and somebody who's just going to take us in a bad direction. And she lies, she has a lot of corruption, she's got a lot of money from Wall Street. That's my red flag right there. Now, Donald Trump, on the other hand, is also very rich, but he made his own money. And the way I looked at it is, well, it's his own money, so therefore, he's going to do what he wants. He's not going to be influenced by Wall Street. He's not going to be influenced by the elites like Hillary. And that's why I voted for Donald Trump, even though there was a lot of, let's be honest, his manners suck, all right? His manners suck, all right? But I couldn't deal with voting for Hillary. And unfortunately, Bernie threw his support behind Hillary, so even if I wrote in Bernie, it would have just been a vote for Hillary. And I just couldn't vote for Hillary. And there are things I disagree with Bernie on, too, with the immigration, all right? But the main thing that impacted my life was the illegal immigration. And let me tell you something, Trump hasn't done a damn thing. I put on the news, I keep hearing he's deporting, yet they're all over the place in this town. They're still all over the place, all right? And let me make it clear once again, it's not racist to want laws enforced in this country, all right? It just so happens these people are here illegally. It has nothing to do with the fact they're Hispanic in any way. It has to do with the fact they're illegal. They're illegals not just from Central America, but they're illegals from Europe. They're illegals from all over the world that are in this country causing problems, all right? They come here, they sneak into the country, and people who generally break one law break other laws while they're here. And that's what these guys do. And I just wanted them out. And I was really hoping when this campaign was going and Trump was saying he was going to be there for the people and he was going to get rid of the illegals, he was going to make America great again. Well, unfortunately, that hasn't happened. And the problem is that Donald Trump, I think, may be getting influenced or he lied to us. It's one of those two things. He either lied to us and he just said all those things and he wasn't really going to do them and he was just going to be a typical political Republican, a typical, Wall Street Republican or whatever, or he really did want to do those things, but he was intimidated by the elites and the Illuminati and all this stuff that goes on, and now he can't do them. And I think that a lot of this Russia thing is maybe part of that too. They're really trying to go after him with this Russia thing, and I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I have a lot of problems with Donald Trump, but his communications with Russia is not one of them. The problems I have with him is that ever since he got in office, the only things he's done The only things he's kept are things that help the rich. He hasn't kept any of his promises to the middle class and the poor. He promised not to cut Medicare, or he promised not to cut Medicaid, he promised not to cut food stamps, he promised not to cut Social Security, and look what's going on. He's cutting those things because that's pressure from the Wall Street people, the Wall Street connections there, and the big money and the elites have gotten to him, or they were with him all along. I had a feeling that was going to happen when he appointed his cabinet. His cabinet is all insiders. He said he wasn't going to be part of the insiders. He said he was going to drain the swamp. None of that happened. He's part of the problem now. He's not part of the solution. But my main beef with Donald Trump is the fact that he is not deporting them. I know he's only been president for, what, half a year? But here's the thing. All right, I should have noticed a difference by now. There is no difference. Let me tell you, it has been terrible in Westbury. They're still hanging out everywhere. They're loitering constantly, you know, and you see the beat-up cars all over the place, you know, and this weekend was absolutely terrible because, you know, the town was otherwise a ghost town, but the illegals, they were all over the place. And it was so bad that they do this during the summer, and of course they were back, that the railroad parking lot, they're actually playing a soccer match in the railroad parking lot. And I have to walk through there to get to the train. And listen to this. So that's what I got to deal with. I got to deal with that. All right, Donald Trump, you said you were going to get rid of this. You said you were going to make America great again. You said you were going to bring law and order back to this country. But that's far from what I'm seeing. I'm seeing nothing but disorder here on Long Island. Nothing but the continued problems. And some of my friends who are still loyal Donald Trump supporters want to blame the local government. They want to blame Cuomo or the county. And it's true. They don't help because Cuomo supports illegals. That's true. He supports amnesty for illegals. He wants to make this a sanctuary state. Same thing with a lot of elected officials here. All right? But the thing is that the federal government doesn't need their permission of local police or state police to come in and take enforcement actions. They don't need that. And so that excuse does not hold water with me. All right? ICE could come in, and they're not hard to find. They come through Westbury. They need to come through Westbury. You see them hanging out, stop them. If you're suspected of being involved in a crime of which is being in the country illegally, then the police have a right to stop you, ask you for identification. If you're not here legally, then out you go. I'm sorry, but out you go. Same thing for the finding illegals where they live. You see the beat-up houses. We have run-down houses with weeds growing all over the place in this town. All right? You see the cars with the out-of-state plates parked out in front. You know there's illegals in there. All right? You know that there are illegals in there. All right? Now, it's true. You have to get a search warrant from a local judge to go in the house. But you can hang out outside, wait for the illegals to come out. Once they're outside the house, that's it. Round them up. Get them out. You know? I have no sympathy for these guys. I have friends on the left who have sympathy for them. Great for them, all right? I've dealt with, let me tell you something, all right, that I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but I've lived in Westbury for over 15 years, and when I first lived here, I actually lived in a different apartment that was closer to the train station. And when I first moved, it was great. But the building was sold to some Wall Street investment banker or whatever, and shortly after it was sold, illegals moved into all the apartments around me. And when that happened, I had to deal with constant, loud music at all hours of night, fights. It was horrible. It was absolute hell, all right? That was the worst place I ever lived in. Once those illegals moved in, let me tell you, it was horrible. All right, they hung out. They were drinking right outside, outside the door. They were urinating, and it finally came to a head when there was a knife fight, and somebody got stabbed. And I had to call the police because I heard it, and I was like, "Oh my God, time to call the police!" And the police came, and sure enough, there was blood on the stairs everywhere. There was broken beer bottles everywhere, and when they went into the apartment, they found a lot of machetes. I don't know if these were gang members or not, but after that happened, shortly after my, I was fine. I wanted to move before, but after that happened, my agent's like, "All right, we got to get moving on getting you out of that place," and so I was like, okay. I didn't want to leave Westbury at the time because it's just one little isolated incident. The whole town was not infested yet, so I moved a little further. Into it's in the same area, but a little further away from that train station. So, so I've lived here ever since. But I've seen the illegal problem get worse. I mean, when I first moved to this town, there was one bodega. Now there's going to be 7 bodegas. All right, they are popping up everywhere. And the cars without estate plates are everywhere. And Trump isn't doing what he was elected him. When I voted Donald Trump, I elected you to get this shit out of my town. All right? And I don't want to hear excuses. You kept saying over and over again when you were running for president that they will be out. They will be gone. They will be gone the next day.
We will begin moving them out day one. As soon as I take office, day one. Day one, my first hour in office, those people are gone.
And I know they can't be gone the next day. It's impossible. But I take that as seeing aggressive enforcement action. All right? He'll make excuses. Some of my friends, well, ICE is short-staffed. Well, then get the National Guard to round them up. These people are here illegally. They are invading the country. All right? I have a problem with people who break the law. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. All right? Look, that guy we had who was bathing at the Piazza this weekend, all right? He's bathing in the fountain, all right? He's a white guy, all right? All right? Arrest him, all right? It doesn't matter. You break the law, there are consequences, all right? You're causing problems in a community. You shouldn't be allowed to be in that community. It's not fair to the people who have to live here to deal with these problems, to deal with the drinking, to deal with the bums hanging out, to deal with the just general, it was like Skid freaking Row this weekend, all right? All right, we shouldn't have to deal with this. All right, this is why we have police. This is why we have laws in this country. But they're not being enforced. They're only being enforced in the richer white areas. And people will say, well, you must be racist for voting for Trump. Well, don't you think it's racist to put a lot of illegal immigrants into only certain communities, mostly communities of color, mostly mixed communities? Don't you think that's wrong? Don't you think that's racist? I sure do. You don't see any of them going to the lily white areas like Wanta, not a one. Not a one, but no, we're inundated with them. The Westbury School District, we are inundated. It's so bad they have to send, the school district is so crowded now that the school district has actually had to get space at Nassau Community because of all these kids that came in under President Obama. All right? And why aren't they being deported, Trump? Why aren't you ending that program? You said you were going to get them out. It's not racist. We can't help everybody in this. We have a law, a process of law in this country. And if things are so bad and people need to come here, if they come here legally and apply for, I think it's called, if they apply for asylum here, all right, that's what you do. That's the legal process to do it, all right? You have to apply for asylum. You can't just sneak in across the border, all right? And no, they're not I've said before, not every single illegal immigrant is bad. But unfortunately, a lot of them are. And the ones that hang out on the streets and cause nothing but problems need to go. All right? And the citizens that hang out on the streets and cause problems need to be in jail. But these people shouldn't be out on the streets. It's not fair for us to deal with that. And so Donald Trump, all you've done is done things to help the rich. You've cut taxes for the rich. You've cut corporate taxes for the rich. You've now gotten us out of a climate. The guy does not even believe in climate change. He got us out of a climate pact. We're one of only we're now one of only 2 other countries that is not part of this Paris Agreement. Syria and Nicaragua, all right? That's what we're in the company with, all right? I think it's absolutely pathetic, Mr. Trump. I really do. You say, oh, you're putting Americans first. How about putting Americans first and getting these illegals out of here? All right? Like you said you were going to do 1,001 times. You said it over and over again that you were going to get them out of here. And yet, here we are, 6 months into your presidency, and I still see these people hanging around town all the freaking time. All right? I'm tired of it. You got to do what you said you were going to do. That's what we elected you to do. I can't knowingly vote for you again or even support you right now because you've turned your back on your core constituents. A lot of people are upset with you right now, Mr. Trump, because you're not keeping your word on what you said you were going to do. The only thing you've done is help the rich. That's all you've done. Whether you're being intimidated by the rich or you lied to us all along, it's no good. All right? You need to stand. If the latter thing is going on and you're being intimidated, my God, you're Donald Trump. You shouldn't be intimidated by anyone. If these Wall Street people say, well, you got to keep the illegals or have cheap labor, tell them to fuck off and say, you know what, I'm enforcing a law in this country, and they're going away. But no, you're giving in. And that's the problem I got with you, Mr. Trump. You're giving in to the rich elites, just like Hillary Clinton was. And now we are screwed as long as you are the president. And that's unfortunate. I did vote for you. All right, I voted for you because I thought you were going to clean up this town. I voted for you people who thought, well, maybe if he enforces the law and gets a lot of these illegals out and brings the respect of law back into this country, and the troubled neighborhoods will improve, and I wouldn't even have to worry about moving. But that's not what's happening. It's only getting worse. The divide is only getting worse. More of them are here than ever, hanging out on the streets. And people don't want to come here, and this town is increasingly becoming more of a ghetto, and I have to move. And of course, all the safe neighborhoods on Long Island are now becoming expensive. They're getting taken over by these rich people, and you know, with their fancy cars and their snobby attitude. Sorry, they don't want housing for people like me. They don't want housing for people like me. Take an example of this woman here. She has caused problems in Southampton. She was running for I think some kind of town board seat or whatever, and she moved to a mostly black neighborhood in Southampton, and she said she's a white pioneer, and so she called the police and went on a racist rant about black people. All right, and guess what she's involved with? Guess what she's involved with? Guess what her career is? She's a realtor. All right, a lot of these real estate people are racist. All right. And it's not just against blacks, it's not just against Hispanics, but it's also against people who are mentally ill like me. I continue to experience this uphill battle here on Long Island trying to relocate to a safe neighborhood. See, but this is what I'm up against. Look at how much these houses sell for. I mean, who can afford these prices? Only rich people can afford these prices. And I think that I've given this plenty of time, and I think that this year is it. If I can't get into a safe neighborhood on Long Island, then I've already spoken with people in New Jersey. There are housing programs there. I can relocate there. All right? And that's what I'm going to have to do. And there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to miss about Long Island, but if living on Long Island means being put down like this, being forced to live in the ghetto, and not given the rights, and not even having help from the federal government to improve my town, to get these illegal degenerates out. And I don't want to hear a freaking sob story. Oh, they're just here for a better life. They're just here for a better life. What about these three guys? These three freaking illegal aliens that tried to kill someone just for hanging out, just for laughing on his porch. All right, just for looking at him the wrong way. These three fuckers, these fucking MS-13 fucking pieces of shit. Sorry for the language. That's what I think of them. All right. One of the guys slashed with a machete, and another one shot into the air. And there's gang tags in this town. There's ongoing issue with gang tags every now and then. See these guys with blue and white. You know they're MS-13. You know that. The police don't want to do anything. Nobody wants to do anything. Donald Trump, you said you were going to bring law back. I was counting on you. You were going to help me stay on Long Island. But now I see you just like the rest. You just care about the rich. You just care about the white people. And you don't care about the mentally ill, minorities, lower income people. You just want to, basically force us to suffer in the ghetto because you won't clean up our towns. That's why you got a lot of support from poor Americans, because we have been suffering with these illegals, and we thought you were going to take this burden off of our shoulders, and that's not happening. All right? So that's been my little rant on Donald Trump, and I hope this year I can relocate to a safe neighborhood. But yeah, if I can't on Long Island, then I'm sorry, I have to leave. I can't stay in the ghetto. All right? And I know, once again, there are worse neighborhoods than Westbury. I know. There are plenty more worse. But this neighborhood is on its way down unless we clean up these problems. No amount of money will get this town onto a revitalization track unless we get these illegals out of here. And once again, it's not racist. Once again, the burden of illegals has fallen on mostly minorities here in Long Island. I think that's pretty racist. And I think it would be racist not to get these illegals out. All right? That would be racist. All right? They've broken the law. It doesn't matter where they've come from. If you break the law and you're causing problems in the community, well, guess what? You shouldn't be allowed in the community. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what law you've broken. It doesn't matter where you've came from. There are consequences to breaking the law. All right? And if you want to hang out on the streets, drink, and harass people who are walking around, well, I'm sorry. You shouldn't be out on the streets. If you're illegal, you belong back in your home country. If you are not illegal, you belong in jail. It's that freaking simple. All right? I'm tired of seeing this crap in my town. I'm tired of seeing it. All right? This town could be a great place if we just enforce the law. This country could be a great place if we just enforce the law. Donald Trump, you said you were going to do that. You have let us down. That's all I have to say.